What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to episode 84 of the Lombard Trucking Show, where I'm coming at you live from Burlington, Colorado, and the Love's parking lot. Pulled over here. Gorgeous weather out here today, by the way. Finally, I've been out of the triple digits. It's been hell on earth down in Phoenix and in the southwestern part of the United States. Past 2 nights, I've finally been able to sleep with the truck off. Which I call the Goldilocks conditions of trucking, when you're able to sleep with the truck off. And not only that, not only is my truck off, but everybody around me is off. So you're kind of just dealing with the slight hums of a distant reefer unit that's near you. Coming live on a Friday night because there's a bit of breaking news that's been going on. If you've been following my channel, if you've been following the episodes this week, it's been all things yellow. It's been code yellow all week going on in the freight world. And as Craig Fuller from Freight Waves has said, that this is the most riveting time period or news in freight probably since in his whole career at Freight Waves. Those are his words, not mine. And it's been all the drama going on with yellow. I brought on Rachel Premack. We went into detail on it. I kind of went on my own diatribe on it the episode before that. And as of today, Yellow tried to go to court to file an injunction in Kansas to stop the Teamsters from going on strike on Monday, of which they given notice about regarding not funding the pay and benefits. So they went to court today, and as of today, the court shut it down. It means the Teamsters are going to go on strike. Now, my friend Justin Martin over at Freight Waves, he's been trying to contact yellow drivers. He's been talking to yellow drivers over the week. There was actually a viral video of a driver who was who blew his lid over what is going on with the pension and benefits there, exclaiming about how a lot of yellow drivers stuck around solely for those benefits because they had sick family members. Justin spoke with him, and I am fortunate enough to have on another driver on TikTok. He has a YouTube channel, by the way. I'm about to bring him on here shortly. His YouTube channel is JAYL405 Life. So JL405 Life. You can go follow his channel. He's a newer CDL driver, and I'm very happy to bring him on the show. He's taking his time out to come on here and talk and tell his story. So without any further delay, I'm going to go ahead and bring him on here. Jay, how we doing, man? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm doing well. What about yourself?
Not too bad, man. I cannot complain. A little bit nice, 84 degrees here in Burlington, Colorado. It's beautiful weather. I'm pretty sure Colorado. I'm not sure how much driving you've done around here, but it looks like the Windows XP desktop background on I-70 in here.
It seems like I only go to Colorado in the wintertime. I got to chain up. I never go into summer.
Yeah, see, I'm not going to lie. God is good to me in that respect. I've never been through Colorado in the wintertime, never been across 70 in Colorado until this week. And personally, from my own experience.
You haven't?
Oh, no. Yeah, I've dodged it for the last several years. I haven't had to do it. Even when I was a company driver at one of my last companies, we had this route that would go. We had stuff that would go to Ontario, California, that picked up in the Midwest, and it would be quicker to bypass it on 40 than go all the way across 70 because of having to chain, because of the snow, because of the closures. So it's yes, 70 in the wintertime is hell on earth.
Yeah, I know. I only been driving for 2.5 years, and I drove across 70 and chained up so many times, I lost count.
Well, let me tell you something. You've got a lot more under your belt than guys who've been trucking for decades down in the southeastern United States. I've talked to guys in Alabama, Georgia, and they've never ventured out of the South. They've basically stayed in the South, so they've never even smelled snow or snowstorms.
Yeah.
They'll stay away from that. So what you've gotten in 2.5 years going across 70 is some priceless experience. And actually, depending on where you go career-wise, or if you end up, buying a truck one day, a lot of insurance companies, like when I bought my first truck, the reason why I was able to get bobtail insurance on my truck was because I had 2 winters, not 2 years. They needed to have 2 winters. That was like their qualifications. They like to know if guys have driven through the winter. Did I lose you? Having a little bit of technical difficulties here. we'll wait for it. Up, see, we've got a experienced driver here. My buddy here, 27 years, never chained. I'm hoping to never chain myself. Like I said, I don't get paid enough to chain personally. Jay, you're back.
Yeah, people say, I know a lot of people say that. Like, I've been doing it for a lot of years. I never changed. A lot of people like at Yellow say the same thing. They say if they have to chain up, they're not driving. But how would you know you have to chain up until you get there? Because sometimes it's not snowing, it's the ice. The sky can be clear and you can go across the mountains. You know, the mountains make their own weather. And sometimes you run into it. You have a choose but to chain up, especially if you're going to day camp. What you going to do? Sleep in the truck for 10 hours to clear up?
Yeah, exactly. When you're in a day cab, yeah, you're kind of you have no choice. I know I've gotten shut down on 81 in Virginia, where if I had chains, it probably would have been better. But I mean, I managed to survive it. I sat there 3 hours, 4 hours in a shutdown, and then had to like slow roll through like 60 miles going to a TA. But yeah, what can you do? When you're in the day cab, you got to make those decisions. That's tough. So where are you at right now? You said you're going to Memphis.
Yes, I'm going to Memphis.
So, you're currently a driver for Yellow. So you're driving right now. You're under a load. You're not empty.
Yes, I'm on a load. Yes. Believe it or not, I know a lot of people don't believe it, but I rarely pull empty trailers, and I stay busy. We've been staying busy, so a lot of people don't believe it. Like, yeah, Yellow don't got no freight. We moving. At least I'm moving.
Yeah. So
I'm getting like, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I want to hear the story from your end. So like, what's the last couple months been looking like for you? When did you start noticing? Because I've seen some of your videos on TikTok. Where you like I believe back at the just a few days ago, actually, you had one get 25,000 views. But you've made videos about and you've talking about other Yellow drivers, and they've basically been saying you've been mentioning how they all complain, but yet they're still at Yellow for the benefits. So yeah, what's been going on the past couple months there?
Oh, the past couple months, what's been going on at Yellow? Basically, what I think it is, like I can understand the older drivers because they lost that 15% way back in 2008, and they want their money back. Because back then, I believe Yellow was the highest paid LTLs company. I believe they were, and they lost that 15%, and now they're at the bottom. So I can understand that they want the money back. So the reason why they're fighting. But at the same time, those guys who do not complaining about it, they voted on that. They voted on that 15% pay cut. The company couldn't get on a 15% pay cut if they didn't vote on it. So don't vote on something, then turn around and cry about it later. That's your decision. Stick with it.
Yeah, no, that's true. This is what you're describing is actually kind of. I had another guest on the show who trucked in the '90s, and this is how a lot of these LTL carriers ended up dying. Was what happened was in the early '90s, a lot of companies like small regional LTL guys, they all like basically the management would go in the office and be like, either you need to vote for a pay cut or we're going to go out of business. So, and this is essentially what probably happened in 2008, 2009 was they voted on the pay cut, and the ROI on that was, hey, maybe things will get better, and at least we have the best benefits in the game. So yeah.
Yes, I know a lot of guys say, now don't get me wrong, Yellow have awesome benefits. For example, I worked at FedEx Freight before I came to Yellow, but I was not a driver. I was a mechanic at FedEx Freight before I came to Yellow. I had a baby under FedEx. Actually, I didn't have it. My wife had it. My wife had a baby under FedEx Freight insurance and under Yellow insurance. A bunch of FedEx with the same doctor, same hospital, and everything. A bunch of FedEx Freight insurance, we owed the hospital $10,000 after everything. A bunch of Yellow insurance, we just owed $300. That was it.
Really? See that? I mean, that makes my ears perk up right there, because that's unheard of. Basically anywhere else.
So I can understand that the insurance, but at the same time, what most of these guys holding to heart, the insurance and pension, a lot of companies are catching up. But for example, if Yellow is a 10 in insurance, the rest of the LTL industry, they are what, like a 7.5, 8, almost 8, trying to get to the 10, get to the level as Yellow. but our pay is at like a 6, and the rest of the LTL industry like at a 10. They make good money. So to me, I see no benefit of the union because they, the union employees, not employees, the union companies cannot adapt as fast as the non-union company can.
So yeah, so which non-union companies are you talking about? Are you saying that are kind of better?
But like Old Dominion, FedEx Freight, even Saya's growing very well. Estes, I think Estes is the highest paid LTL company out there, I believe. I could be wrong, but I know a lot of those guys make a lot of money at Estes. I know a lot of those guys make over $120,000. They make a lot of money at Estes. So those carriers make a lot of money. Now, don't get me wrong. I know there are 115 LTL companies out there. We're not talking about all 115. We are talking about the top 10 everybody knows about, because the rest of them you don't know nothing about.
Yeah, there are smaller ones out there. It really depends on where you're at. So yeah, the LTL companies. Well, and what's crazy is a lot of the reason why Old Dominion and Estes and Saya, however you pronounce them, one of the reasons why that they've tried to emerge better with pay and benefits was to compete with the union, and they've been able to do this. And I think that Yellow kind of made. I talked about this with Rachel Premack. Their biggest mistake was buying all these companies and trying to act as if they were this non-union company, and then they kind of got too big. They got way too ahead of themselves with acquiring all those companies back in 2008, 2009.
Yes, because those other companies, they can make changes without good, like prime example. Yellow, T-Force, and ABF, they can't really make big changes without the union permission. Those other companies can do that. So that's why the non-union companies are growing like crazy. They are growing. The union companies are not. People say, and now ABF, don't get me wrong, ABF is a wonderful company. It's one of the best, but ABF is still a small company. ABF got a total, 8,500 drivers total? Not drivers, I mean completely employees total, 8,500. That is a small company.
Yeah, and that's where I think the union works, is when those companies stayed small. I think Yellow, personally,
they're too big.
I think Yellow got themselves too big. You can't. That's because I've heard this a lot. I have a friend of the show, good friend of mine, Dom Tulo. He owns a small, fuel distribution fleet in northern New Jersey, and and that's where a lot of unions run up there. And the thing is, if a union comes into your business, essentially it does become very hard to grow because you have to constantly keep reopening the collective bargaining agreement. And that's where Yellow's issue was. Yellow was trying to keep up. They wanted to maintain themselves as the LTL gods of the industry, but they didn't realize that they had to open up the collective bargaining agreement with the Teamsters if they wanted to do all this consolidation, from all the businesses they acquired.
Yep. Be honest, I don't think what Yellow is doing, the one Yellow, I don't think that's a bad idea. They trying to consolidate. I don't know how to pronounce that word right. Consolidate all their companies into one, like they're way out west. So I don't think it's. I don't think basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to go to a 5-day work week, Monday through Friday. Who want to work all the time? Who want to work 7 days a week? It's hard enough to get younger drivers in the industry as it is. The average age, I believe, at a Yellow driver is probably like 45, 50. Every driver is old at Yellow. You rarely see a younger person. Everybody about retirement age. So Yellow needs to make a change to attract the younger generation. Nobody want to stay gone that long anymore. Nobody.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So that's why a lot of these mega carriers going to that 5-day, 5 days gone home on a weekend, because nobody want to stay gone like that no more. I know at Yellow, the most you can stay out is 4 days. It depends on the area you're in, but majority you can stay out. The longer they can keep you out is 4 days. If they keep you out longer, they got to pay you per hour until they get you back home.
See, I like that method though, because that's the thing is you're absolutely right. Like when it comes to millennials and Gen Zs, they're looking at so those older drivers you're talking about, they're looking at these older drivers. They've watched them lose their families, get their wages cut, and die of chronic disease. And they're looking at this job as a career, and they're saying, now why am I gonna go do that? And so you have so many people aging out of the industry. The turnover is so really high. But I like that method that Yellow has, where if you stay out that long, you start getting paid hourly. These are some incentives because when and we'll get into what's going on at Yellow, but depending on what happens to these drivers, they're going to find that these OTR companies, they're going to find out how much better they had it with the union personally, because some of these other companies, you are without a doubt a number.
I know, and that's what I've been trying to tell a lot of these drivers. A lot of these drivers, they've been here so long. They've been here so long, and they believe Yellow is the worst thing out there. I'm not saying Yellow is the best trucking company out there. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is Yellow is not the worst. The problem is they've been here so long, they forgot what's actually out there. Then what they do is, as soon as a new employee come here, they tarnish their mind. They ask them, why do they come to Yellow? Why do they go to ABF? Why do they go somewhere else? Like, what's the point? Why would you do that? Why would you put a negative thought in their head? Let those young drivers make their own opinion of the company. You don't do it. Let them do it. So I think that's the problem with a lot of drivers here. They so content on where they at, and they so negative. They just want to poison the mind of everybody else because they're happy. For example, I know it's gonna be off topic a little bit. Remember I told you my wife had a baby. My wife, she had a baby back in October of last year, 2022, October 23rd. As I was taking off, I was telling the driver I was trying to figure out how to do it, and the driver said, "Why are you taking off for?" I had all my babies on the road. I was like, okay, if my wife dying birth, I want to be there. I ain't saying I ain't trying to say that, but you know what I mean. I want to be there because you had all your kids on the road because you wasn't there when your kids were born. That don't mean I want that for me. So don't tell me to do something that you did that wasn't right. That's why you on your third or fourth marriage.
Yeah, the toxic work environment among a lot of these employees is it's crazy. The way you're talking, it reminds me of when I was like a new Marine. There were so many people in my unit who were like, "Oh, dude, start counting down the days until you get out. Like, why'd you join? Why'd you join the Marines?" And it's so crazy when, in hindsight, it was probably probably would have been the better career move for me overall. But no, it's funny to hear that toxic work environment, and that I mean, who knows if this was the same all like company wide. I'd be curious to
I
know.
think it is.
I think it sounds like it was. But if they're doing it there, then why wouldn't they be doing it? Because that's the thing. If in your videos you mention these drivers are like, oh, it was different when we were Redaway, it was different when we were Roadway, it was different here, and then it's
Yes.
but yet they still suck around, but they still complain. I know the type of negative projection you're talking about.
Yes. And to this day, I think Yellow bought Roadway back in 2002. To this day, they still argue about that. What's one of the best company? What's one? they still fighting over that right now to this day. And like Roadway been gone for 2002. Like I understand why they've been a break room still arguing, fighting over it. Like you guys fight over the most dumbest things in the world, and I don't understand it. To me personally, this is me. I'm not speaking to nobody else. If I dislike something so bad, I don't care what that job have to offer. My sanity is more important than that job. Because once you start having negative thoughts and once you start hating something, believe me, your emotional health will trickle down to your physical health. So I don't understand why they stuck around if you dislike it so much.
Oh man, I'm really glad you said that. Said that because that's kind of the message I preach, especially because if some of these yellow drivers end up going over the road, their health is going to even take a bigger hit. And yeah, you're like everything that has to do with your physical health, like so much of it trickles down, and what they put out in the universe is clearly what they're going to get back. But let's so. What's what's the past few weeks been looking like for you? Like what's it been like what was it like at work all week? So you said you've been busy.
Yeah, I've been busy now. Last week I didn't work because I was in the DR. I was in the Dominican Republic with my wife. I took a vacation. So last week I didn't work. 'Cause I was on vacation. But Otherwise, I've been busy. I've been averaging in between 25 to 3,000 miles a week.
Okay, yeah, which is and you're in a day cab doing that. That's normal for
I yeah,
yeah.
I'm in a day cab doing it. And now, don't get me wrong. Now, I would say if you Yellow is a seniority based company. Excuse me, I'm burping. Excuse me. At my location, we have a hundred and I believe 115 drivers at my location, and I am number 74. So I got 40, almost 40 drivers behind me. So I would be more busier since I'm 74 than a 98 driver, if that makes sense. Because my seniority, we are a seniority based company, so they call you on seniority. Because I'm on the extra board. I don't have a bid, so I just run. They call me and they ask me where they give me a couple options sometime where I want to go, and I choose from the option. Then if it's three options and I choose one, then I hang up and call somebody else. Then they'll have two options and so on and so on. So for me, when my seniority list at, I've been busy. They've been keeping me busy.
No, that's a good thing at least because everything else in the news is all these like a lot of Yellow's customers have been pulling. I've had friends tell me they're like, yeah, I told all my customers to lay off Yellow, so I didn't know. So you're apparently not slow. So maybe the less senior guys are slower.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe the people at the bottom who haven't been here like a year or a couple of months, or who went through the yellow CDL driving program. Like I told them, I tell a lot of those drivers, like I have a YouTube channel, and they ask me all the time what they do. I like, if yellow go out of business and you went through yellow CDL program, look at this way, you got a free CDL out the deal for free.
So yeah, so really, so new drivers were able to get their CDLs through Yellow.
Yes, yes. Yellow have a CDL program. Yes, they pay for them to get their CDL. They put them up in a hotel. They give them a rental car, and they give them $260 a week and per diem.
Now, now here's what I'm curious what I'm curious what on Yellow's recruitment because this is I mean that's what mega carriers do. That's and the mega carriers are my worst enemy. I like um, anybody who's associated with the ATA is like on my shit list. So it's like, but so Yellow had this good recruitment. Yellow will help you get your CDL and has the best benefits because mega carriers, like I said, some of these Yellow drivers who may not be working next week, when you go to these mega carriers, they're gonna get paid. But if they want the same benefits, they're gonna have to have employer paid benefits, and like so it's gonna come out of their paycheck, and then they're gonna be paid by the mile. And then if they want all of those benefits, 401k, health insurance, everything for their family, they're going to run 3,000 miles a week and maybe crack $1,000 to themselves. Like depending on where they go, which company, especially if they're sticking with van. Like if they go to a mega carrier, that's going to be that's going to be what they're faced with.
I mean, yeah, I understand it. I get you. Like I said, I started off at a mega carrier. I started off at Swift. It only lasted 3 months, and their insurance was high.
Yeah, yeah, man. That's why you left. So what's your plan going forward? What's your move? So you're working. I'm assuming you're working over the weekend.
Yes, my plan is I'm just gonna ride it out because I don't want to. To me personally, I don't believe Yellow is a bad company. Cause like I said, everybody's experience is different. But my experience, I work real crappy job. I was a welder, and I was a mechanic, and I was a forest firefighter. And I work trucking. The truck driving is easy compared to those jobs. All I'm doing is sitting down and holding the steering wheel. So I'm gonna ride it out. I'm gonna see where it goes, and I got some money saved up. That's why I tell everybody save up for the winter time in case something happens. You would never have to rush into a job you don't like if you have money. You don't have no worry. Luckily, I have ain't a lot, but I have $15,000 in cash saved up, just waiting. So I'm just trying to see where everything goes. Now, I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you I didn't fill out an application nowhere because I have. I filled out one at Old Dominion and XPO. I like just in case money everything goes south, we do go out of business. I already have an application out there. But I'm gonna try to ride it out and see where it goes.
Yeah. Okay. So I was that was going to be my next question. Is come Monday morning, where are you going to be?
Whew, Monday morning. To be honest, I know a lot of people gonna like what I'm about to say. They're gonna get mad at me. They're gonna call me. They already called me a company man and a scab. I still don't understand what a scab is, but okay. But if Monday morning comes and I have opportunity to work, I'm working. I ain't going on strike. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, because that little $300 the union offer, $304 they're gonna pay you. No, I already know. No, because prime example, after taxes, nothing come about checks. After taxes, I bring home like 1,500 a week after taxes. That little $300 or $400 a week, I'm not striking because I don't believe what they striking them for.
Mhm.
So
No, so you'll see no. I'm glad to actually have you on the show because it's contrarian to like so me. I'm a product of a union. Like so the original Lombard, which is a company my grandfather drove for. They were a company in the Northeast. They were a Teamster affiliate who was bought out in 1984. So I tend to be more sympathetic towards unions in that way. But you have your reason. You want to work, and I don't blame you for that. And that's what makes this I think this strike different from maybe what has gone on in other strikes. I mean, personally, you're probably like, is Yellow a bad company? I don't think that they're inherently sinister, but I mean, I think there was just a really bad breakdown of communication. It looks like, and it just happened over the course of the last 10, 15 years.
yeah, I think it's a breakdown of communication, and I think this new guy at the union hall, Mr. O'Brien, I believe he's trying to show the other union companies that he's no joke. He willing to use Yellow as an example to show T-Force, to show ABF, and show UPS that he's no joke. That he's a no nonsense person. So I think he's willing to sacrifice Yellow jobs to prove their point, to show them. That's why he's so strict. That's why, because believe it or not, I mean, who released all the negative information? Who released the Yellow Rider money? Yellow didn't do that. Mr. O'Brien did it. When he put that tombstone in Yellow, 1929 to 2023 on his Facebook page. Mr. O'Brien releasing everything negative to the public, so he the one scaring the customers away. So I believe that was very unprofessional, and a lot of guys cheering that on, like, yeah, 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 yeah. Guess what? Guess what happens? You guys say you're here because of the benefits, and you say you're here because of the pension. Guess what? Yellow go out of business because most of these guys are old and they have health problems. They have a lot of them have a lot of those guys. We have a lot of guys here who's 70 years old, 72 years old, and only working because their wife have health problems. So imagine if Yellow goes out of business. Guess what? The insurance gonna go with it. It's gone because they already told us how much it costs to keep the insurance. It's $570, $507 a week to pay for the insurance yourself. So that's $2,000 they paying per employee for insurance.
Yeah, no,
So
that's good money. And actually, and you know what? You bring up a really good point on that. And it's when it comes to the Teamsters president, that actually Rachel Premack she's an editorial director at Freightwave. She said that when we spoke the other day, is that she believes that the Teamsters are willing to let Yellow die in order to as a show of force, as a show of strength to they're trying to prove themselves to, like you said, ABF, T-Force, UPS, to show them, hey, no, I won't stand down to a company. We're not going to bail them out. But that's the thing. That's the flip side of this whole argument is the Teamsters have made concessions for Yellow in the past. And so it's kind of the argument does go both ways, I suspect. But where I do what I feel bad for is the individual employees, guys like yourself who clearly want to fucking work and I think that that's the most disrespectful thing is that there's these casualties of war at the end of the day
yes,
that nobody seems to want to care about because right now if I'm ABF or if I'm T-Force or if I'm a non-union company, I'm throwing up the ads. I'm saying please come, and nobody's doing that.
because let's be honest, Yeah, like I said, Yellow got 22,000 union employees. What non-union employee, what non-union company gonna open their arm? All right, prime example. You remember where Central Freight Line went out of business? I think it's called Central Freight Line, was it?
Or Celadon Consolidated Freight (CF).
Yes, I'm talking the one went out of business 2 years ago, not the union company. Central Freight Line.
Oh, not CFI.
It's
Consolidate.
Central. I think it's
You must be talking
no,
about.
yeah, 'cause it's, it got two LT. We got Central Transport. That's the one with the yellow trucks, and I think it's Central Freightliner. They went out of business 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, Consolidated
It
Freightways.
it was a non-union company, but it was an LTL company. You remember when they went out of business because Estes bought a lot of the equipment. You remember when they went out of business? You probably can look it up. I don't know if you remember or not, but you can look it up. Central Freightliner, when they went out of business, all the companies had their arms open and say, "Hey, come work for us. Come work for us." The reason why a lot of companies not doing that for Yellow, if they go out of business because they know they're union, who want to bring all these union drivers to their company? For they can vote in the union. Who want to do that? What company gonna open it on and say I want all these union drivers in my company, for they can try to turn my company union?
See that's kind of good. That's controversial because that's hot. That's hot in political news because I've said that before because that's all it would take. So if 20 to 40 yellow drivers go over to anywhere, if 40 yellow drivers can go work for Werner Enterprises tomorrow and they can unionize without a doubt. Personally, I think they need to because the mega carriers treat drivers like absolute dump.
Now I agree with you on
But
that one, Mega Carries. I agree with you.
yeah,
You will not get no pushback on that one.
see, so this actually brings up a good conversation. Is that perhaps the unions have outgrown LTL and aren't needed there anymore because Old Dominion's doing well, because SD's pays well, because the competition is doing well. Are the unions needed because that's the thing is the job at LTL. You guys had the best benefits. You're home regularly. You get a bunch of overtime. It's the mega carriers and the people who are slaves over the road, sort of.
I
You
know.
know,
They
maybe they need the unions. Maybe at the mega carriers could be afraid of yellow employees. That's 22,000 people entering the market. Maybe they come in and they start unionizing their carriers. Maybe I might have to start pushing that. I might
I
push that.
know. Yeah,
Usually,
that's why. Yeah, that's why I left Snyder because, like I said, I got my CDL back in 2021, and I went to Snyder, and I stayed there for 2.5, 3 months. And the reason why I left is, in 2021, I was making in between 300 to $450 a week. That was it.
at Schneider, and I'm assuming is this
As
because your truck was breaking down, or just that you were waiting on loads?
I was waiting. I would sit there at a shipment, like prime example, I was on a Coca-Cola account at Snyder. This is before I think they do guarantee something now. I think they guarantee $1,000 now. But when I was there, it wasn't like that. It was 350. I would go $350 a week. I would go to Coca-Cola and I would sit there for 8 hours, and they will only pay me, I think, $60 attention pay
Yeah,
for sitting there for 8 hours.
yeah. No, I'm good. No, let air this stuff out. This is the type of content we need on the airwaves, and so that's the thing. Maybe, like I said, I think you raise up a good point by coming on the show. Is maybe the unions have outgrown LTL. They did the Teamsters did their job of forcing the competition because that's what the union's there for, to represent employees. They've made it better. They've made the LTL industry better because Old Dominion and all these other companies now all of a sudden pay well, are better. I mean, ABF, and then not only that, like this is a lesson learned is that you can't grow like Yellow did. ABF stay where they're at, and maybe now's the time for the Teamsters to get into the over the road fleets.
I know, because I have a question. How many companies you see right now signing up to become a union? If Yellow go under, right? I think the average union dude is like $70, 100. I think it's $100 a week. They take different prices out of my check, so I don't know exactly how much it is. I think that we gonna, well, to be on the safe side, we're gonna say just $100 to make everything sound right. What's 100? times 22,000 a month.
Oh yeah, let's do that math. It's like 220,000. So you're saying, so you're saying that, so
That's how much
$100
you
a week.
need
So
times.
say your
No, a
union dues
month. A month. Yeah, it's a
so
month. It's a month.
so $100 a month. So that's 1,200 a year. So 1,200 times 22,000 is 26,400,000.
And that's how much money they're gonna lose if Yellow go out of business.
The union does.
Yes, because how many companies you see signing up become a union? Because last time I checked, I seen an article. It says since 2000, the union used to hold a 40% market share in trucking. Now they only down to 22. And Yellow is the largest union company. Because Yellow is bigger than T-Force and ABL put together. So in Yellow, it hold a 10% stake in the LTL company. So that's a 10%. Oh, so that's 10% of their 22% union. So there's no companies running to join a union. Because I seen an article on Freightway that XPO voted the union out in Florida maybe a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
These companies not going union like they used to back in the days.
Yeah, and I'd be curious to look at, and that's region specific. So Florida itself is a pretty anti-union state. So is Texas, and where they're going to, there's probably a lot of entities that try to promote anti-union narratives down there, because because in California, Home Depot drivers did vote. They had voted to unionize. So yeah, there are a lot of people who definitely bring. There's arguments for and against, and I've said it in where I'm sympathetic towards unions on the show. I more so like, I'm not saying that they're the answer, because there's no such thing as going backwards. We can't go back to pre-1980, pre-deregulation. Like, you can't just roll back the clock. But there is there's truth in the middle of between the two sides. There needs to be some sort of because of the turnover in the industry. Like you said, you're a prime example of what's wrong with the overall trucking industry. You were at Schneider for or Swift. Sorry,
You're right, Snyder. Yeah, Snyder. You're right. You're Snyder.
So you were at Schneider for 3 months and then you were gone. That's Schneider, Werner. That's their fucking. You're basically, if you've done 6 months there, you're a senior citizen. You could be a trainer in 6 months.
Yeah, you're a senior citizen.
Yeah, that's their seniority. So it's just like there's truth in the middle to all of this. But yeah, no, it's interesting to see. So I mean, so come Monday morning, you're gonna try to go to work.
Yeah, I'm trying to go to work.
So yeah, what's that look like? So you're traveling. Like, so would you be back home on Monday? Or
you know what? I thought about that before you asked it. I thought about it before you hit me up for this interview. I like, are they gonna get me back home before Monday? They can keep me. They can keep me out up to 4 days in the region I'm in. I'm in the southern region, so they can keep me out 4 days. So I don't know.
Yeah, because I'm curious how that looks, because that's another thing that's been happening during this whole trucking bloodbath is a lot of companies have gone under. We had a carrier in North Carolina with like 100 truck fleet. A lot of guys have been going under, and the drivers have been left abandoned. So I'm trying to make sure that you're not at risk of being left out on the road. I don't think the Teamsters would do that.
No, man, I jump in this truck long, got some fuel, and I drive it back to Oklahoma City. Bob, tell it.
Yeah, you can drop the trailer somewhere. That's the thing. If Yellow has to liquidate, they'll be. I'm sure somebody will be taking care of the assets. But I like your positivity. I like how you're not, because like I said, that there's another video. You're familiar with the video of the guy who was like, absolutely blew his lid about the pension. Do you work with him? His name's Dwayne.
No, I don't work with him. No, I do not.
Okay, but yeah, you were familiar with that video. I didn't know if have you been talking? Do you guys talk at all? You have a group chat? Has anybody been have you been talking to the other drivers?
No, it's kind of at Yellow. Everybody's kind of picking a side.
Really?
Yes. Either you for the union, you for everything going on, or you're not. But the people who are not, they quiet because the other people don't have a voice. Because soon you state something that everybody else disagree with it, a lot of people are non-confrontational, and they're gonna attack you. All of a sudden, just hit you, attack you, attack you, attack you. So a lot of people just stay quiet. Now they pull me to a side and they tell me because they see my video on YouTube or I speak my mind and we talk. But a lot of people don't voice their opinion. Like for example, this strike. I didn't have no vote in there. They asked me, do I want to go to strike? They asked nothing. They just asked the senior guys.
Mm.
I had no vote in this. They ain't sent no invitations. Say, do you want to vote on strike? They ain't sent none of that to us. Or at
Yeah,
least they haven't sent it to me. Yeah.
it kind of happened pretty quick because with UPS, it's been kind of drawn out, and they're kind of dramatizing UPS. Because that's the thing. I think that you're right. I think that was probably O'Brien's plan, is to let Yellow's going to fall on the sword to show how powerful UPS is, and let that be that, because it did happen quick. They're like, I mean, technically, I guess you don't need to vote on it because Yellow did violate the contract by not paying into the.
Yeah. That's what I think what it is. They violated the contract. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was going to say, so you said you put applications out there. Say come Monday, you can't work. What's you said you have a nest egg, but yeah, is that your radar? Old Dominion XPO. You're looking to stay LTL.
Yes, I wanted to stay LT. My three is LTL, fuel service. I mean, fuel hauling or food service because I kind of want to do something that is more physical. Because at Yellow is not physical at all because we don't actually do anything. We don't even really hook our own sets. It's already hooked when we get here. All we got to do our pre-trip and take off. So I want to do something to keep me moving. Because, like I said, truck drivers, we have a bad health problem. Look it up. We one of one of the worst when it comes to health. Truck drivers, we have bad health. So I like to get in something that keeps me moving and keep my blood uh pumping. Cause I bought me a jump rope, and I go on my break, I get out of stuck and I start doing my jump rope just to keep my blood moving. So I would like to get into, like I said, go to U.S. Food, go to Flying J Pilot, do fuel hauling for them, Old Dominion, XPO. Reason why I chose those because they closer to my house. Because
Mm-hmm.
all the rest of them is pretty far. I ain't trying to drive an hour. It ain't really worth it.
Into those number one, this is music to my ears because that's essentially most of my content is very fitness focused. So if you're ever looking for tips or pointers, just go scroll through my TikTok or shoot me a DM. I can definitely get that going. Now, I can tell you, it sounds like you should give flatbed a shot if you're willing to throw some tarps and chains and stuff. It's not a bad, but hooking those hoses up to tankers, it's always a good move. It's good you want to be active, and I'm glad you came on the show and said that without even me. I normally I need to pry that out of people, but like you just came out there and said it. Hey, I need to get my blood flowing. Like just to hear somebody unsolicited talk about the health of truck drivers and how bad they are, and you mentioned that about some of the drivers at Yellow, and I think that overall, like I said, to really round this out, I think the saddest part about it is like so in the overall situation. I'd still, like I said, I lean towards sympathy towards the union. It just seems like a breakdown of communication over the past few years. But it's the individual guys at Yellow who I think like there are guys you just said they have sick wives, they have sick kids, they're themselves are unhealthy. And come next week, that could be gone.
Yeah, I know, and that's the sad part because I know a lot of you guys back then. The knowledge wasn't out there when they first started working, so I can't sympathize with them. I understand because right now in my generation, we have YouTube, we have other things to try to help us get financial focus. We have YouTube to try to tell us to invest in a Roth IRA or do some type of self finance and don't rely on the company. And we got a lot of YouTube channels to show you how to open your own business and be your own boss. So I understand those guys didn't have that. I completely understand, so I'm not knocking it. But also, I believe sometimes you have to put your fate in your own hand. You can't rely on a company for your retirement because if a company go under or anything happen, those big CEOs or whoever they are, they're gonna take care of themselves first before they take care of you.
Yeah. when push comes to shove, yeah, when the meteor's coming, they're gonna they're gonna go in their doomsday shelter and leave everybody else outside for it. No, that's very true. And yeah, as sympathy, that's the reality of the situation. Is where unions, I think, are still necessary and can be used the right way. I think they do need to. I don't look at them with this altruism. They're not always perfect. I think they need to be fixed, and in a lot of ways, they need to be fixed. Is like you said, that the mentality. That like the mentality of some union workers is stuck in the past. It is very ingrained, heels dug in the dirt. Justin Martin from Freightways has come on and he's mentioned that about USPS. It's just about like, yes, it's very slow. It's a slow roll. Like that, yeah, it's so hard to make changes because there's so much in the way, and that is what really needs to change. Like I said, that's the only way they can kind of move forward, or else, because what's going to happen is, yeah, at the end of the day, the workers are going to be the one who's always, no matter what, workers are getting screwed at this point, union or not.
Yeah, I know the workers are getting screwed regardless. That's what I've been trying to tell these guys. I understand the pension, but don't rely on the pension. Put some money away. We have a 401k here, but the thing is, they don't match it. But we have it here. Idolize that. Put 10% of your money in that. Stop relying on the pension. They all keep telling me, when I keep saying that, they say a 401k is bad because the economy go down, you lose everything. Look at what happened right now. If the company go down, you lose everything. At least when the economy go down, you lose half of your money. When it go back up, you get it right back. When the company go down, you lose everything. It is gone.
Yeah, exactly. Like a 401k is, even though you're playing with the Wall Street casino, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like it's a long game. Like the 401k itself is a long game. That's why, like, when everybody was like, oh, when COVID hit, they're like, oh my God, my 401k. It's like, hey buddy, you're 30. You don't need to worry about your 401k for 30 years. But yeah,
I know.
the pensions, yeah, at any time that company could just blow up, and then all of a sudden the company's gone,
Yeah.
and you don't have a pension anymore. So it's a risk versus reward. Like overall at this show, and just like my content, I just want people to have better lives. But at the end of the day, you bring up a really good point. And a good friend of the show, Reed, has come on and said this: you have to control what you can control, and there are things outside of your control. So do what you can for yourself as best as you can. It's unfortunate what's going to happen with those Yellow employees. There's going to be a lot of growing pains, but I'm happy to hear that you're in good spirits and that you're ready to still work. But yeah, a scab is like, they mean it in a literal sense, because you had mentioned that some of your coworkers are calling you that, and a scab is somebody who crosses the picket line, or somebody who wants to work, because, like, if you get a cut, so essentially, like, if you get a cut on your leg and then a scab goes over it, it's that a scab is just a thin layer of protection from re-piercing it. So you're essentially a fake flaky piece of skin covering up the lack of, the skin is supposed to be the strong, like that's the worker. I'm drawing it out. So you're a scab. Yeah, you're covering up the problems with your cheap labor, essentially, is what a scab is doing. Because a lot of time, because what's crazy is, like, this happens a lot in nursing, is a lot of nurses will go on strike, and then nurses sometimes will cross the picket line because they'll pay double to get the nurses to fill the gaps for the nurses who are on strike via the union. So that's where it comes from.
Because, because you can't tell your mortgage company, the light bill, your car note, that, hey, I'm sorry, I can't pay this month because my job on strike.
Yeah,
they want their money. So so that's why I'm not going to knock anybody who choose to strike, and I'm not going to knock anybody who choose not to strike, because everybody's financial situation is different. Everybody's different. So you can't penalize and try to talk down on somebody because they choose not to strike, or they choose to strike. For example, since I've been making these videos, you know how many times I've been getting threatened? So many times I come and say, they say, oh, when I see you, I'm gonna beat you up, I'm gonna do this, do that. I like, for what? Before I even say anything negative about the driver, when I created my YouTube channel, my goal was, it says it on there when I created it, to show the positive side of Yellow. And that's what I do. And a lot of drivers, for some reason, when they say, they get mad at me because stating my opinion, because they're like, my opinion don't matter, only their opinion matters, mine don't. And then when I catch you, I'm gonna do this and do that. I like, sir, do it. I'm not about to go back and forth with you. I'm not gonna threaten you online. I'm not gonna call you out your name. If you're gonna do it, do it.
No, that's yeah. It's a free people on the internet. Yeah, it's a lot of nuance. The commenters. I was reading some of those comments too, and I was like, oh, here we go. And what is crazy is back in the union's heyday, like the '60s, '70s, is because it's actually true though. If somebody like you was doing what you were doing, siding with the company, they like you'd wind up with like your tires slashed or something. Like they were like if you weren't loyal, yeah, if you weren't loyal to like the unions, this is the Hoffa days, like the glory days of union trucking. Like, yeah, if somebody like you was just like, yeah, we're going on strike, I'm going to work, they'd be like, they'd slash your tire, or you'd have a fucking buckshot in your passenger seat. Yeah, they used to get real serious back in the day on that. So it's kind of funny to see those old school guys have that type of energy. But yeah, they're 70 years old, dude. They can barely take care of themselves.
Yeah,
They're not a threat to you.
yeah, I know that. I know that. That's why I don't take it seriously. I don't take it serious at all. But like I said, I understand the why that the union formed. I think did it. I believe it formed in 1910 or 19 somewhere around that area. I understand the reason why it formed. I'm not debating that. I understand, and I think the union is perfect for a lot of situations. It is perfect, especially back then when workers didn't have no rights. They treat you like crap. They want to work you 20 hours a day with no pay and everything. But it's not 1920 anymore.
Yeah, not 19. Yeah, it looks like 1903 is when the Teamsters
Yeah,
started.
yeah, it's not that time anymore. A lot of stuff has changed. Now, are companies somewhat still greedy as CEO? Yes. That ain't gonna never change. Yes. But the working environment has changed. You have a lot of situations to help you out. You have OSHA. You have a lot of stuff you can do if you feel your job is unsafe. You can call on your company. I know a lot of people say, I don't want to call. I'm not a telltale. Well, we are grown. Ain't no such thing as telltale when it comes to your safety. So I understand why they form, but I just don't agree with, like you said, I don't agree with probably like 30% of the union do today. But I agree with most of the union because I think it is good for a lot of places.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's well said. Yeah, and that's been the case for I think a lot of unions. Is they initially served a purpose, and kind of like what I mentioned before, they served a good purpose. They really like. You have companies like Old Dominion now who rise above and have good as just as good quality service, quality workers. They pay quality. I have a friend of mine, friend of the show. He works for Unilever, and he's mentioned that his company is always doing everything they can to make sure their warehouses don't unionize. So they pay above, their benefits are lights out. Like they do this for that reason. And it's so they did serve their purpose. And now it's just, now I think the team, like I said, I think O'Brien needs to audible and go after these mega carriers. They're the true enemy in the trucking industry anymore.
I know this is like that's almost like slave labor what those mega carriers are doing to those new people who get in CDL because all they sell them a dream. They sell them a dream. Once you get out of CDL school, they're gonna say, "Hey, you're gonna make this amount of money when you go. You're gonna do this and do that." But once you get there, it's nothing like the recruiter says. Everything he told you was a lie to get you in the door. But now you in the door, he got paid. Some of them stay and some of them don't. So I think you are right. I think they should go after the mega carriers because they are the real problem in trucking. They don't want to run in trucking.
Yeah, no, they are. They're ruining trucking. They're ruining a lot of people's lives. I know that a commenter around here said that he knows somebody who's at Schneider for 15 years. Look, some of those companies end up picking and choosing winners where they have these tenured few who get really good accounts and they love it, and it's just like, like I said, like you mentioned at the beginning of the show, is that like the Gen Zs and millennials, they're not looking to be over the road for the rest of their lives. Like, and my friend Gord, he's also been on the show. That's the thing, is when the unions fell in 1980, the boomers were the primary parts of this industry. They worked very hard, and that was taken advantage of by the entire supply chain. They said, oh my God, these guys will work themselves to the bone. They will sacrifice their mind and body and family to absolutely run the gut and work this hard. Now it's not happening anymore. These people are getting sick. They're becoming unhealthy. The new generation is not staying in the job because they're like, holy shit, I'm going to wind up like this guy. if I stay doing this. So we're running ourselves into a place where the turnover is unsustainable. So it's just that's what it is. What's up, dude? The video came up.
Yes, I think it's very untainable because what they doing is very, very, very bad. We can't treat people like that and expect a different result. We can't. So I don't understand how the government or anybody allows them to do new employees like that, to sell them a false dream, a false hope. That's why I like so much. I praise the younger generation because they not taking no mess. If they don't like it, they quitting. They saying forget this mess. They not sticking around. A lot of people, a lot of older people call them lazy or they don't know what hard work is. That's not lazy. Why would you say someone you hate? They understand their value. They understand their time. They see a lot of people like they say they probably know their grandfather, their daddy, or their uncle sacrificed so much time at a certain company they hate, and they look at that they're like, man, I don't want to be like that. Then they see some of these drivers at the truck stop and how big and how bad health they are. 400 pounds. I don't know how in the world they passed the DOT, but physical, but somehow they did. They're like, I don't want to look like that. Who want to be lonely all the time? Trucking is a lifestyle. It's not just a job. It is a lifestyle. And me personally, I'm with the younger generation. I'm not ready for that lifestyle. I don't want to be gone no 3 weeks at a time and get 3 days at home. Who want to do that? Who want to be going 2 weeks at a time, get 2 days at home? So that means you're at home a total of 4 days out of a month. Who want to do that?
Yeah, and with a lot of these guys, the shape that they're in, they're not in the most healthy shape. So when they go home for 2 to 4 days, they're sleeping for half of that time because they're so tired. Yeah, the lifestyle of trucking is what's becoming unsustainable. Like I said, they took advantage of the boomers. That time is now running out. Like those people will be gone soon, and it's gonna be us and the Gen Zs, and they're not gonna do it because they're realizing how valuable time is because there's so much going on in the world. Look, we got the war in Ukraine. We got, that people are arguing about the climate and stuff. Like people are always, everyone's on edge about the end of the world. People are valuing what little time they think they may or may not have. Like that's the thing. They're starting to realize, that time is more valuable than, and because here's the thing is people when it comes to the lifestyle, the reason why the boomers and the Gen Xers really did it is because the money was still green. But now you have ELDs, you have automatic braking, governed trucks. Like you're limited to your income. The mega carriers, they limit the money you can make. Like you can't, like if you went over the road back in 1985 or whatever, like there were guys who still like, and not only that, the inflation wasn't bad. Like that's the thing. Just like those yellow guys, how they stayed for the benefits, or
Yeah.
like for those same reason, guys stayed with trucking because the money was green. They were getting money on the back end. Now the wages have been going, essentially down and not up with anything.
I agree with you. I preach on my channel all the time, all the time. It don't matter how much money you get, you cannot buy back time. You missing your little daughter or your son first walk. You missing their first game. You missing a graduation. You missing a lot of stuff. I guarantee you, your kids, your child would rather have you there than you making all that money and sending them gifts. I guarantee you that. I guarantee that because money is not everything. Now I know somebody gonna say, what if you make 30 or 40 million? We're not talking about that kind of money. We talking about what we make. We're not talking about millions and millions of dollars. We ain't making that. We talking about what we make. You can't buy back time with that.
Yeah. No, that's the reality of it. I mean, anybody who's on their deathbed, yeah, that's it. That's absolutely right. Nobody, and you talk to any old timer who's in their 70s or 80s or something like that, they're never gonna look back at me like, man, I'm so glad I'm so glad I worked like that summer. I'm so glad nobody ever like looks back and they're like, yeah, hell yeah, like fuck yeah, glad I gave this up. While glad I missed this trip all my friends went on so I can,
Yeah, they have a lot of regret. I'm telling you, man, people don't understand your mental health will trickle down to your physical health. You being alone all the time. Now, it's better nowadays when we got the cell phones, we can still like video chat somebody, but it's still not the same as it is as in person. So people don't want to do that anymore. I know. So I don't understand like a lot of those old timers back in the days when they had to pull over and call on a payphone every then like your wife or if something happened, they're not getting in contact with you back then unless you stop and you call them. Now it's not much better now because we got technology. But overall, it's still the same. You
Oh
can see
yeah,
me over the phone, but I still can't touch you. I still can't touch your skin. Your wife gonna start being lonely.
yeah.
She
No,
gonna finally want attention. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Humans are social creatures. Yeah, my grandfather, he got into an accident. He hit a, there was no GPS in his day, and he hit a low overpass
Oh
once when he
dang.
was, because it was winter time. So I think he took a different route. So he ended up hitting a low overpass, and like my grandmother didn't know until he came home. Until like he just didn't, he didn't come home. Like, so there's no way for her to find out until he eventually came home. Came home, like, because there's no phone nearby. Like, yeah, it's people back then were definitely built different. I give them a lot of credit. I mean, the reason
I
why,
do too.
yeah,
I do too.
I give them, I do give them a lot of credit. I give the old school guys a lot of credit, but it's just we've come to a point now where, yeah, I think the future's unsustainable, and what's going to happen is they're going to try to rush the robots in, and it's only a matter of time before, because all it's going to take is one bird or one rock to kick up and hit the lidar on a robot truck and kill a family of four, and it's just like all we needed to do was just maybe pay guys more and get them home every 3 4 days. It's like that's it. That's all we needed to do.
Yeah, I know, but hopefully they understand that before a lot of these older drivers age out the industry, and then if they really gonna be screwed.
Mhm. Yeah, no, for sure. But hey, man, we've been going for an hour. I'm ready to log off. But look, man, let's be in touch. I'd love to catch up with you again, either sometime next week, or depending on what happens with Yellow. I'd love to stay in touch with you, man. I'm big fan of your attitude and everything you got going on. I think, and if you happen to, like I said, maybe we can get a workout in, depending on what your next job is, and I swing around your area. We'll get in some push-ups at a truck stop.
There you go. That's my type of guy. Like I said, I got my jump rope. I be jumping. I go to the gym. Before I go, everybody out there, please, if you take nothing from me, take care of yourself. Take care of your health. Because once your health start going bad, you cannot get it back. It's hard to change. I don't know if you get rid of diabetes or not. I don't know, be honest. But it's hard to change bad health. Because once your health start going, and that's what cancer set in. I know somebody gonna say you can work out all your life, something's still gonna happen. Yes. But I guarantee how many I don't want to sound rude, but how many fat people you see 80, 90, 50 years old? Rarely. They all skinny, and mostly all are women because they don't stress themselves out over stupid stuff. So take care of your health. Your mind, your body should be number one for you, not a company, not nobody else. Take care of yourself first. You are in control of your own destiny. Don't let a company control your destiny. That's all I have to say.
Dude, Jay, that's really well said. I'm glad you signed off with that message, because I couldn't agree with it more. You are number one. You got to fill your own cup. Yeah, sacrificing. It's one thing. If you're a patriot, you sacrifice yourself for your country, like the veterans of World War II and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But sacrificing yourself for Schneider or Pam or Werner, there's nothing brave about that. Your family wants you more than your family and friends want you, and not only that, you yourself deserve to feel good. So that was well said, man. Before I let you go though, what's your YouTube channel again?
It's JL405 Life. Like woman
JAY. Yep.
Jay, then the letter L. I made it one word for some reason because it looked cool. JL405 Life.
All right, man. That's good. I really appreciate you coming on again, and I'll be in touch with you. I'll text you. We'll see what it looks like Monday, and we'll get back up soon. All right, man.
All right, thanks.
All right, man. I'll talk to you. All right, guys. Thank you once again for listening. Episode 84 of the Lombard Trucking Show. You heard it right there from my friend Jay. He's positive. He's feeling good. We don't know what's going to happen on Monday, but hey, he doesn't want to strike. He wants to work. That's how it is. But that's all I got for you guys. Episode 84. With that, we're back to the bench.